All right, so let me know if you guys can hear or see. Guys, can you guys hear anything at all right now? I'm just trying to check this thing. Before it wasn't working very well, so. So let me know some, okay. All right, so okay, good. So we can hear. All right, I don't know. I was using some other thing before, so it was Streamlabs. So I don't know what the hell the deal was with that. So sorry about that, guys. I guess I'll just use the old tried and true next time. So all right. So first, I have to say to Dan Trout, who's on here right now. So thank you very much for sending these samples. I really appreciate it. This should be, I think, a lot of fun. So. I have no idea what any of these are. All I know is that one of these somewhere along the way is going to be the Pappy 15. So I'm pretty excited to try that one again. Um, so I'm pumped for that. So that should be kind of fun. So all right. So basically, what we're going to try to do is, like Dan and I had gone back and forth on a text message. So what I think I'm going to try to do is we'll go from your left to right, so my right to left, and we'll do these kind of in order. And I think what we'll try to do is, as we go along, I'll have him kind of reveal to me once I kind of get a better idea of what's going on and all of that. So this will give me a way better idea of the amount of kind of what it is we're tasting. So as we go, he can kind of tell me, I'll kind of guess as to what it is, and we'll kind of do that. So unless somebody has a better idea, we can maybe kind of get going. So does that sound good to you guys? Just let me know. I want to make sure that it sounds and it looks okay. You guys can hear me okay? It's loud enough and everything? Someone just give me a thumbs up. Yeah, no, I know. I don't know why in the world it's doing. I tried checking it before to stop it from auto focusing, and it just, I don't know, whatever. It's just the problem with dealing with everything off my phone. So I can maybe try to do a little quick check here before. Hang on, let me just check one more thing. More technical difficulties. All right, so forget it. That's just the way it's going to be. So if it auto corrects, then there's not much I can do about that right now. So I think I've got it on as much of a setting as I can, but I don't know why it's gonna do that. So all right, so let me do this. So we're is everybody able to kind of still see and hear me okay? So just give me a thumbs up, let me know, and we can kind of get going on this. Can you guys hear and still see okay? Everything looks okay at this point? Okay, good. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get going. So, like I said before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from my right to left, your left to right, and we'll just do it. This is going to be blind. So, Dan was sending everything to me, which thanks again. I've kind of said thanks to him a million times. So anyway, the deal is going to be I'm going to go through each one of these one at a time, and then as we get to, kind of just going through some of this and figuring out exactly what it is, then I'll have a better idea of kind of the reveal and all of that. So we'll let Dan, once we kind of get to the end and I try to figure out what in the world it is, we'll kind of go from there. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. So this was a little smaller sample, so I don't know if you guys can kind of see that at all. There, maybe that's a little better. So yeah, so I don't know, it's going to be really interesting. So like I said before, one of these is the Pappy 15. I'm not exactly sure which one it's going to be, but it'll be fun getting to that point. Hopefully I can pick it out. That'd be great. All right, so this one, so you get hit with right up front a lot of caramel on this. Kind of strong caramel and vanilla notes. Clearly a bourbon. Nice little rye spice. Kind of smells a little kind of like dusty or old. You know, you pick up a little bit of kind of a little bit of I don't know, a kind of a leathery kind of tobacco note. So, and Dan, you're pretty sure you obviously know what all of these things are. So hopefully I'm kind of hitting on these. But I'll be interested to see what the taste is. So we'll give it a try. Yeah, a little bit of heat right up front. You get a lot of the kind of leathery, you know, butterscotch. Vanilla is there. You know, it tastes like an older bourbon. I don't want to add any water to that. The proof doesn't seem like it's overly high on this one. I would guess, if I had to guess with this is probably in the, I'd probably go with maybe in that 90, 95 range. I don't think it's 100 proof. But yeah, a lot of leather, tobacco. It's dry. It's fairly dry. Yeah, I mean, really good. So I mean, the finish is probably on the medium side. Yeah, I guess with this, again, it's probably, boy, I can't. I'm not picking out like a familiar flavor with this one. So it's just dry, leathery, tobacco. You know, probably reminds me of more an older, like kind of a dusty bourbon. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna guess on this. Well, I can't tell exactly what the distiller is on that, but proof wise, I want to say that's probably in the 90 to 95 range. So, Dan, if you want to reveal maybe what that is, or if you have something else you want me to maybe try to, you know, kind of expand upon regarding that, we can. So you just kind of let me know if you want to do the reveal now. But again, I'm gonna guess in that 90, let's just say 90, 95 range. Very good to me. It's an older bourbon. I don't, age wise, I'm gonna say maybe in the 6, 7 year, maybe 8 year max range. A little bit of heat, but medium finish. Leathery tobacco, so it reminds me more of an older type of bourbon. So do you want to go ahead and maybe reveal what this one is? I'd be interested to kind of know what this is. So yeah, I'm kind of getting a little bit of a like a citrus note on this as well. So so bottle, holy cow. So this was that one that you sent. All right, so this is the old Fitz, that one that was bottled in, or barreled in 56 and then bottled in 62. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I would say that's very close to the oldest bourbon I would say I've had. I don't know if I've had anything that's been that old. So that would be, so once this thing was bottled, it was, well, 10 years before I was even born. So being born in 1972 and this thing bottled in 62, boy, oh boy, yeah, that's got some age. So surprising. So it did taste a little bit on the older side, which was kind of the interesting part. You don't get to, for me, that kind of full-bodied type of flavor with this. So, or in ones now, maybe something that's that low proof, that was a lot of flavor that was in that. So very, very good. So thank you very much for sending that. So that must have been that mini that you sent. James, eventually, man, I'm gonna get you those samples. I promise you. So with that, that's the one interesting thing with the older bourbons. I've had some not quite this old, but maybe in the 70s, and they all had that kind of robust. They weren't always really high proof bourbons, but they were full of flavor. That was one of the things I've probably picked up or noted more with the older bourbons, was just that the fact that they had more flavor, a little bit more robust. And I don't know if that's just the dustiness or the fact that it sat in the bottle for so long, and maybe some of the flavors within the bottle started to develop. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, the aging process isn't gonna continue, but anyway, so I'm hesitant to, without knowing any of the proofs on these, I'm hesitant to add any water to these. So without knowing the proof, I don't want to dilute anything down that may not have a lot of proof in it. Okay, so let me check the chat. So all right, so we'll see. Okay, so let's move on to, so the first one I did was A, and yeah, no, trust me, I'm not going to add any water. I do really like things neat anyway, unless we're talking about, in the upper 120s or maybe even the 130s, I might add a little water just to bring some of the proof down. And sometimes for me, that starts to bring out extra sweetness for me. So it's kind of a win-win, takes away a little bit of the heat, adds a little bit of sweetness to it. But anyway, so, all right, so let's get into, this is letter E, according to, all right, so let's do this. Let's get into letter E. So this is my second sample from Dan. All right, so right away I get with the second one a huge amount of caramel. Boy, I don't know if I'm guessing right away. Without smelling C or F. I'm tempted to say this might be it right out of the gate, but a lot of vanilla, a lot of caramel, even a little bit of a kind of a citrusy nuttiness kind of to that. Huh, boy. Huh. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Very, very nice nose. So, huh. Yeah, so Pressman, so the Knob Creek 120, that's a solid bourbon. It's something that's very, I don't know, I like a lot of the higher proof Knob Creeks. Sometimes you get a lot of the barrel picks and all that really get nice, but yeah, Knob Creek I think does a really nice job. Yeah, so this is really, really full of butterscotch and vanilla. Huh. Yeah. Boy, that's a really, really, really nice nose on that. Um, Boy, I'm not getting a lot of, I'm not getting a lot of heat, um, off the nose. You're not getting a lot of that ethanol, anything like that. Huh. Yeah, but full of butterscotch and vanilla. So let's get into this. So cheers, guys. Yeah, Tom, I know Binny's has a lot of really good store picks. I've had several of theirs before, so they uh, they do a really nice job. Well, they should be doing a lot of those picks for just being the size of the company and everything that they are. All right, so I'm a little hesitant now to say that that's Pappy. That has to me a lot more proof. I'm gonna say with something like that, that could be in the, oh boy, 115, 120 range, something right around there. Uh, this is kind of reminds me a little bit of, yeah, you guys were saying like Knob Creek and everything before, so it's, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Knob Creek 120. It's somewhere that's kind of one of the things that it really, really reminds me of. I mean, look at the color. I mean, to me, it's got some age. I'm gonna guess based on, yeah. See, this is one I'd like to add a little bit of water to. So I think I can. I'm gonna maybe try to add a little bit to this. I don't think this is the Pappy. So let me guess here. So I'm gonna say, and maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna go with the Knob Creek 120. And age-wise, I'm gonna say this is gonna be in the 8 to 10 year range. So you can let me know whether or not I've hit anywhere close to what this one may be. So do you want to go ahead and I guess do the reveal on this one, Dan? I'll be really interested to see what this is. Yeah, so Pressman, the Elijah Craig, the barrel proof, though it's one of my favorite. I thought about maybe that. It didn't seem like it was that high. Oh, this is the Pappy. All right, so I didn't think that this was that it was that kind of proof. The Pappy 15, what does it say? The proof, I thought that was under 100 proof, and it sure drinks a little bit hotter than what the proof was. So okay, so it is 115. All right, I didn't think the 15 was 115 proof. So very interesting. So that's kind of where I thought. I mean, it's full of flavor, and my guess would be if I, oh, you're just guessing. You don't even know. So, oh, Dan, oh yeah, he did say it was the Pappy. So, yeah, this was to me. I didn't remember Pappy 15 being 115 proof, but I guess I was wrong. It's been a while since I've had that, but yeah, I mean, it's full of flavor. There's no doubt about that. So, um, but a very good. I mean, it reminded me a little bit of a Knob Creek, not as much of a Buffalo Trace, but it's, yeah. I mean, it's fantastic. So, um, I don't know. I mean, to add a little bit of water to it, I could, but I mean, it's really really good. So let's Dan, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That was very, very kind of you. Okay, so, all right, let's move on to C. Dan, are you okay with moving on to the third one already? Santa Cruz and Chris, how's it going, man? I have the extra. I know. Maybe I'll go back at the end if you guys want me to take a little bit of the Pappy and add some fit or add a little bit of water to it. You guys can let me know. But I'll move on to this one now. Knowing what that is, I'll go back. So good. So all right, let's move on. I'm going to go to the third one, or C for me. So. All right, so with C a little bit right up front, I'm getting a little more corn presence. So this reminds me of the nose. What? All right, so there's a little bit of heat to this. A little bit of kind of the ethanol that's kind of coming off. A little corny, kind of sweet corn. Oh boy. Interesting. It's kind of a nice kind of complex type of nose, actually. Kind of a buttery type of nose as well. Sweet. It reminds me a little bit of a kind of a watered down Booker's a little bit. I know Booker's isn't watered down, but that's kind of one of the things I'm getting. Boy, there's a lot of caramel. The dark fruits are really starting to come through with this. Oh boy, it's starting to really smell very, very familiar. All right, you like this one a lot. All right. Hey, Dwayne, how's it going? Peter, how are you? Yeah, the nose is really familiar. So, I hate trying to guess as to what. Roy, thank you very much for stopping in, man. I really appreciate it. And yes, thank you. Happy National Bourbon Day to you guys as well. Basement Drammer, there he is. All the big guys are showing in. All right, so I think nose-wise, it's very, very familiar. Yeah, very. Oh man, it's sweet and buttery and really like full of dark fruits. All right, I'm gonna get into this thing a little bit. So. Let's get it. I think I'm gonna go through these things neat, and then maybe I'll go back and add a little bit of water to see what changes. So, all right. So Dan, you're not messing around. So these are some high proof ones. So great nose, great. Great on the palate, full of flavor. This reminds me a little bit, honestly, I would say, like I had with John a couple weeks ago when we did a live stream with him. I had a little bit of the 1920, the Prohibition style. It reminds me a lot of that, to be honest. I don't think this is like a Stagg Jr. I don't think there's that kind of heat to it, but I would say that this easily could be in the 115, 117, maybe even 120 range. Roy, thanks for stopping in. I really appreciate it. Yeah, you can go to bed now. Super chat. I don't have a super chat yet. I don't have that. I'm not as big as you guys are yet, so I'm working my way. I think I hit 700 subscribers today. So with that being said, thank you to all of you guys. I greatly appreciate it. I mean, I have a ton of fun with this. So, but anyway, let's get back to this. So I think with this, I don't know, I'm going to say this is probably in the 115, 117 range. And I would probably go with the old Fitz, Prohibition style, maybe something along those lines. So that would be my guess, and I believe that age-wise is in the 6 to 8 year range. So that's what I'll say that is. I'm going to say that's the Old Forester 1920 Prohibition, 115, 117 proof. So let me know if I'm right or wrong with that one, Dan. I'll be really interested to see. I mean, it's full of flavor. I mean, it is a ton. Mm. Thanks, Roy. I appreciate that. Means a lot coming from you. Yeah, so the 1920, this is a little hot, but not too bad. I mean, the finish is ridiculous on this thing. It is super long, uh, full of flavor. That mid palate is just hitting. It's full of dark fruits. Really, really nice fit. I mean, it reminds me of the Old Forester Prohibition, the 1920. That's what it reminds me of. I don't think this is a Stagg or anything like that. I don't think it's that. So all right. So I don't know. Did Dan? I didn't see if Dan put anything in there. Was this the Old Forester 1920? If so, it's what it reminds me of. I didn't know if you put that in there. So you guys are just firing off all kinds of answers. I don't know. Unless Dan tells me, I'm not gonna know. So, but that would be my guess. Oh, this is the Stagg. This is Stagg. All right, I went back and forth, but this doesn't drink like 131 proof at all. That's crazy. But it's full of flavor. I mean, that's the one thing you get with the Stagg Jr. and even the George T. Stagg. To me, they're full of flavor. I mean, it's tons and tons of flavor. And I don't ever get all of the major heat. I mean, with this being 130 plus proof, it does not drink like that at all. Now, could this drink differently with a little bit of water? Sure. And I'll go back and test it out, because John hit me with I believe the same one. I knew this flavor was very familiar. However, it just doesn't drink like 131 proof at all. Mm. Yeah, I would guess max on this thing. That's why I thought it was the Prohibition style. It just nutty, buttery, full of flavor. That mid palate is fantastic, long finish. So, I mean, for my area, when you can find it, Stagg Jr. is right around 55, maybe $60 max. So it's one of those bourbons that flies off the shelf. Everybody loves having the stuff, but man, this is a really, really good bourbon. I've not had, other than what John sent me, I had not had any of the more recent batches or releases of the Stagg Jr. So fantastic. I mean, I'll be really interested going back, adding a little bit of water. I mean, there was no need, I don't think, to add any water to that. I don't think water would have done that any justice. But the 15 and the Stagg Jr., I think those two, maybe with even just a couple drops of water, would be fantastic. And for me, a lot of times the water, maybe for you guys too, but water for me usually brings out a little extra sweetness, takes away some of the heat naturally, kind of settles down the rye part of it for me, but brings up a little bit of the sweetness. So anyway. So I guess my question before I get to the fourth one is, Mr. Dan Trout, what are you actually drinking tonight? And to follow that up, what is everybody else drinking tonight? So I'm always interested. I mean, if you guys are, I know for some people it's still a bit early. West Coasters still a little bit on the early side, maybe only 4:30. So I know Chris, he'd probably been already drinking, but 4:30, I mean, it's close enough to 5 o'clock for some of you guys. But I'm always interested to know what everybody else is drinking, if you are drinking anything at all. So It's a bit early. Yeah, so I know it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so I don't know. So it's that's the thing. So all right, so a little bit of Dwayne, I've been following some of your stuff on Instagram, and all right, there we go. There's my dad, good old Gary Page, Wild Turkey 101 rye, probably Manhattan, Mr. Fancy Pants. All right, what else we got? Booker's. All right, look at that. So yeah, so that's some good stuff. So anyway, so let's move on to the final one. I'm gonna take one more. That Stag is just sitting there. I mean, it is just continuing on and on and on. I can see, Dan, and for you guys, why the Stagg Jr. is there, of course. One of my buddies pops on, Brian pops on, and he's having Coors Light, of course. That doesn't surprise me one bit. So he wanted to join me tonight because he felt like he would appreciate this, and I disagreed. I think these things would have been way too high proof for somebody who enjoys Coors Light, but cheers, bud. All right, so let's get into this. Let's get into number 4. We'll see what we've got. So, all right, so F right away is, and I think I smelled this one not long ago when I was opening these up, but F is clearly a rye whiskey. So I get right up front a lot of that mint and dill, very typical. I don't even think this would be a high rye bourbon. There's just not a lot of the kind of the corn notes that are coming through. It's clearly a rye. Smells like a rye. Yeah, I mean that's usually a very typical note. For me, I get a lot of that dill and kind of mint wanting to come through. But very good. I mean, there's a little bit of heat there to it. Reminds me, honestly, like up front, with the sweetness that's kind of coming out, it reminds me a little bit of the Willet 3-year rye. Maybe not quite as strong, but very mint and dill forward. So, you know, that's one thing with ryes, and you guys can attest to this, is, you know, rye for the most part, you know, gives you a very kind of straightforward, you know, at least nosing or tasting profile. I don't get a lot of variances in rye unless you start getting up into the really high rye, or high proof ryes. Then things kind of begin to change. Willet is kind of known for some of their, you know, higher proof ryes, things along those lines. So, all right, so let's give this one a taste. I'll be interested to see. So, cheers again, guys. All right. So really, that's kind of that's an interesting rye. Very interesting rye with that. This is more of a kind of a buttery, you know, dill. Boy, I don't get a lot of proof. I mean, maybe a lot of high proof with this one. I don't think any longer that it's a Willet at all. I'm not getting that kind of heat off it. A lot of those, the Willets are in the like right around the 3-year and 4-year that was just released not long ago. The 3 years, a lot of those were between like 108 and I think 112, somewhere right around there. That was all small batch stuff. So you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I wasn't sure if any of you had the Willet 3-year and kind of what your thoughts were with that, but I don't think that's what this is anymore, and I don't think it's a Knob Creek. I definitely don't think it's a sweet mash. bourbon, or excuse me, sweet mash rye. Yeah, boy, very, very interesting. I mean, I'd almost say, I don't think it is. I don't think this is a Kentucky Owl rye. I've got some of that. Huh. Very, very, yeah, it's very, very mint and dill forward. So interesting. It's a very interesting rye. So proof wise, I would say max with this in the maybe the 90, 95 ish range, somewhere right around there. I don't know if that's exactly what it is or not, but that would be my guess. As to what it is, hmm, very, very interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think this is in that 95-ish range, maybe, but very smooth, buttery. Yeah, so Pressman, the Redemption Rye, the barrel proof, I had some not long ago, and surprisingly, I shouldn't say surprisingly, but it's very good. It's a it's a Wild Turkey 101 rye. All right, maybe that's wishful thinking, but anyway, the Redemption Rye, and I think my dad can kind of attest to that, who's Gary Page, but um, MGP, I mean, they do fantastic things. I don't know whether or not you guys are, big fans of MGP or not, but I like a lot of what MGP does. I would say, to me, this isn't going to be I don't think this is a redemption rye at all, but uh, their barrel proof is really, really good. But I like a lot of what MGP pumps out, and I guess since we're on the MGP, I guess, category, there was something that they did not, or actually they released their own um, rye, and I believe it's either a 4 or 6 year rye, and it's called, let's escape. Shoot, I forget the name of it right now. Maybe one of you guys know. If you do, send something. But it's their own. It's under their own label. They're not. I guess they can't be sourcing it. It's their own juice. So they're releasing it as their own. Their own. My guess would be high rye. Mash bill rye. So, but I'm kind of anxious to really try it. I enjoy their bourbons and their ryes, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what that is. They released I believe a 94 proof, which is their standard, and it was fairly affordable from what I saw, was right around the $40 range. And then they also had I believe it was a barrel proof that was around maybe 112, something along those lines, but darn, it's just escaping my memory right now as to what the name of that. Yes, Rossville. Yeah, Rossville Union. So that was the one. Thanks, Peter. So that's one I'm really, really excited to kind of try, just to see, what it is that they're going to essentially pump out. I mean, they pump out a ton of things for what, for everybody else. I mean, they're producing so much of that stuff. So I'll be interested to see if one of their kind of essentially master distillers is picking their, I don't want to say honey barrels. They're probably not doing that, but I'm guessing that he, really knowing his kind of profile, I'm guessing he's picking or pulling out a really, really nice rye whiskey. So I know it's supposed to be a June release in a lot of places. So You guys might want to start checking out based on where you were. If you go to, I think that Rossville Union website or whatever it is, they may actually show you or tell you where the allocation is going to be. I know Wisconsin, where I am, is on that distribution list or area. So if it's something that anybody picks up, I'll be really interested to kind of see. So I guess with that being said, is there anything that you guys have picked up either recently that you were either really, excited for and was super good, or something you've picked up that you thought was going to be really good and wasn't the greatest? So all right, Dan, this is the Yippee Ki. All right, so this is really good. All right, sorry I got off on a little bit of a tangent there. I apologize. All right, so Yippee Ki, very interesting. Yeah, it's what I've had, but it's been a long time since I've had that one. Another really good sipping rye whiskey. So very good. Dan, what's the proof on the Yippee Ki? I'd be interested. My guess is it's under 100. It doesn't taste like a 100 proofer at all. But that's my first thought. So yeah, Jeff, the town branch. So my dad and I went there, and we went did the distillery tour when we did the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, and yeah, we weren't overly impressed with the town branch either, any of their bourbon or their rye. So so Santa, the Midwinter's Night Dram, to me is another good one. So okay, 92 proof. So it kind of was, to me, was in that 90-95 range. So, but very good. Not one I think I would want to necessarily mix in a cocktail. Hey Jason, I think this would maybe fall a little bit flat if you were trying to maybe make a Manhattan or something. I don't think there's enough proof to this to really hold up, but that's, to me, that's my opinion. So all right, so let's do this. So I'm gonna go back through, and so let's just recap. So this was this the old Fitz 1962, I believe. No, so Dan, I've kind of held off trying some of that. I'll maybe before I end it, I'll pick a couple of the other two. I'll pick a couple of the other two that I haven't. So I'll grab those and do that. So this is the old Fitz 1962. This was the good old Pappy 15. And do you know like what year this was? Which release? And this was the Stagg Jr. 131 proof, and this was the Yippee Ki rye whiskey. So, and I don't know what on the Yippee Ki, I don't know what the mash bill is on that. So 2017. So lucky you, you're one of the lucky ones. So very, very good. So thanks again. So why don't I do this? I'll add just a little bit of water to each one of these. We'll kind of go back through if you guys want me to do that. I'm happy to kind of go through some of that. I'll try to keep this thing right around an hour or so, because I know Bill Whiskey Dick is going to be going on a little bit later. Hey Bill, so this is the introduction to your live stream. So I know you're going on it. I thought it was maybe 8 or 9, I believe, from what I saw. But anyway. So let's do this. I'm going to add a little bit of water to the Pappy here. I'm just going to let's do 3 drops. I'll leave that 3, and we'll see kind of what that does to that. So yeah, so for me, right away, it brought out a ton of sweetness. All right, so 9 Eastern. Yeah, it's a ton of sweetness. I mean, it's kind of like that cream corn, caramel. you know, very, very, very nice nose. All right, let's try this. Let's try this. Lots of flavor, full of flavor. To me, it's kind of funny, but the Pappy 15 drinks for me almost hotter than the Stagg does, and it's another 15 proof, I believe, higher, right around there, 15 or 16, something like that. It's kind of interesting, but I mean, this is full of flavor. I mean, it's really, really good. To me, it brought out extra, actually, the more I kind of talk a little bit is it brings out a little more sweetness and more oak. I'm getting a lot more oak than I was originally on the palate. Wasn't getting a lot on the nose, but I pick up a lot of kind of buttery creaminess, oak. The vanilla's there. I mean, it's a really, really well-rounded bourbon. That's one thing you can tell that is. So, I mean, great. I mean, it's perfect. So, thanks again for sending that. I very much appreciate that. So, all right. So let's go on. I'm gonna before I add a little bit of water to the Stagg. Let's do this. Let's add 2, 3. We'll just add 3 drops to that too. We'll see kind of what that does too. Yeah. Yeah, boy. It kind of brought out actually a little more kind of seems to bring out more heat than it was originally. Huh. Didn't do much for the sweetness. Now, again, well, 131 proof, I only added 3 drops of water, so it may not have done much or anything at all, so. Definitely a little bit on the sweeter side, and it's super, like, velvety, full of flavor. I mean, just a fantastic bourbon. So yeah, like Richie. So that's one thing I do. I appreciate that too. Not a ton, but if you get hit with that up front right away, that nice heat kind of lets you know that this is a high proof big boy. I like that too. And then once that kind of starts to like dissipate, it just leaves you with that nice long finish. I mean, that's why a lot of people, you know, enjoy high proof bourbons. If you want to put a little bit of you know, water in it just to you know, bring down some of the proof, maybe a little bit of the heat, you can. But I mean, I enjoy it too. I like the high proof ones. It kind of lets you play with it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, fantastic. I really enjoy the Stagg Jr. So yeah, if you can get Jason, if you can get it, I know Alberta. Good luck with that. So it can be difficult, even though I think you guys still have access to the Elijah Craig 12-year. So, which I'm going to be sending to James before too much longer here once I kind of get my shit together. So, but anyway. So yeah, again, fantastic. Thanks for sending that one to me. So the Yippee I don't know if I need to. Let's just do it. Let's do it. I've done it so far. 1, 2, 3, and let's see if that brings out anything else. So yeah, I guess for that, it probably got a little bit again sweeter, way more dill now. Way more dill on the nose. Yeah, so not one, with this being only, I believe you said before, like 94 proof, something something around there. Not one I would recommend adding water to. So it's really good, but again, I don't think it's one that you need to add any water to it. It's already got really good flavor. The proof isn't. Hey Tom, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Have a good night. It's not one of those ryes I think that maybe improves with water, especially with it only being 94 proof. You're maybe bringing the ABV down on it a little bit too much. But again, it's a solid rye, and I think in my area you can still find it fairly readily, and I believe it's in the, I want to say $60 range, I believe. So it's a really good one. But yeah, we see it quite a bit. I don't know if you guys see it. I don't know if you guys see it all over. Hey Swami, how's it going, man? I don't know if it's one that you guys see in your area or not, but it's a fantastic rye. So yeah, but again, not one I would add to. So I'm going to real quickly grab a couple of other glasses, and I'm gonna give a couple of other samples that Dan sent over to me a try, just to kind of see what some of those things are. If you guys want me to do that, let me know. But I think I'm gonna just grab that and we'll kind of see where we are. So anyway, just to kind of recap, so I had A, E, C, and F. So I'm gonna grab the other two. I'll be right back. All right, boom, I'm back. So, all right, Dan, you tell me. I've got, let's see, B and D. So, Dan, you tell me which one you want me to try first. Just let me know. So, and that's the one I'll pour. I'll try to see what we are. And I've not tried really. I haven't tried any of these before tonight. I wanted to do this as blind. Okay, so I'll go with B. So let's do that. All right, B it is, my friend. All right, so how do you like that? Little small one right there. Fits my Glencairn perfectly. So. All right, so we'll do this one next. We'll leave that there. All right, B it is. Let's do this. Holy cow, that is a boatload of peanuts. Oh man, this is, all right, that's to me is like a ton of, it's peanut, a ton of, I don't know if I ever have gotten that much of a peanut nose. Now, are you guys already guessing as to what it is? I don't know. It doesn't smell like a willet to me, but a ton of, yeah. I mean, this is like, dry roasted peanuts for days. But it's hard to get past. It's really hard on the nose. It's really hard to get past the nuttiness of this. It's a really nice nose. It's different for sure. But yeah, a lot of, it's like someone dumped a bag of peanuts in here. All right, so this is one that you like for the price. Okay, so it's interesting. I don't know if, maybe I've had it, but I don't remember ever having anything that had this kind of nose to it. So I'll be interested to see if the nose and palate match at all. So cheers, guys. And once again, happy National Bourbon Day to everybody. the nose and palate on this are literally identical. I mean, it's like full of nuttiness. Now, to me, that starts to bring out for me a lot of like what the like Knob Creek starts to kind of taste like. To me, if I was guessing right away based on the nose and now the palate kind of matching, I would guess that it's a Knob Creek of some sort. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's a Knob Creek 120. I don't think it drinks like that kind of proof, but let's see here. Yeah, it's no way it's 120. I don't know. I'm gonna guess probably right around that 100 range. It could be the 100, something like that. But I think it'd be a great, just a great, if you want something different or whatever this is, it would be fantastic. So why don't you reveal to everybody what this is? I'm gonna say again, this is the Knob Creek 100 proof. I don't know what they age it. I think this is probably in that 6 to 7 year, maybe 8 year range max, but I'll be interested to know what this is. Oh, Clyde Mays. Very, very interesting. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Clyde Mays it's got to be a source bourbon. I don't know if this comes from MGP, but I thought Clyde Mays was a source bourbon. It's got to be. I can't imagine they produce their own juice. I almost positive Clyde Mays is a source bourbon. I could be wrong, but let me know if I am. It's actually, yeah, what is the ABV on this? I'd be interested to know. It's got to be under 100 proof. I can't imagine it being over that. I would guess between that 90-95 range as well, so. But really good. I mean, it's full of peanuts. I've gotten that a little bit in the past from 92 proof. All right, so that's kind of what it seemed like. So, but I've gotten the nuttiness sometimes from Knob Creek as well, but I wouldn't have guessed. Well, I don't think, actually I've never had a Clyde Mays before tonight, so I wouldn't have ever have known exactly what that was, but it brought out a little bit of the kind of Knob Creek to me a little bit. With it only be, you know what, let me just add just 2 drops of water to that. I want to see what that does to the nose and the palate. Wow. All right, so it brought out a little extra rye in the nose. Kind of took away a little bit of the peanut on it, so I'll be interested to see what the taste is. Bourbon Shenanigans, how's it going, guys? Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, 92 proof. Still get a fair amount of the nuttiness to it. So, apple. Do I get apple? Possibly something like you get a little bit of that maybe bitterness a little bit to it. And maybe that's kind of some of the kind of a green fruit, like a grape or green apple, something along those lines. But yeah, it's a bit on the dry side. Yeah, but it's actually pretty solid, and I think that's one that's actually fairly readily available. I see it, I would say probably everywhere, and I probably pass it up just because I've never had it, and I'm not exactly sure what the price point is. I want to say, I'm guessing probably between that maybe $25 and $35 price range, something like that. So, yes, thank you very much, and thank you guys. You guys have all contributed to 700, so hopefully nobody will unsubscribe. That would be it'd be pretty mean. So yeah, so great price. Yeah, $35. So that's, for a daily sipping bourbon, I would say this would be really something, interesting. If you want something a little bit different, this would be really, really good. So I'm just surprised as to the amount of like peanut that kind of comes through. So it's, yeah. So press me, and like you said, I really enjoy these, all the different kind of nuances of things. It's really, really fun. And Swami, I saw that you did the. I didn't have time to check it out today, but I saw that you did the Eagle Rare, and that's one of the videos I want to check out. So I've got several bottles. Most of what I have are actually store picks, but I really like. I mean, for 92 or for a 90 proof bourbon, I really like, Eagle Rare. It just, it's, to me, it's real citrusy. Light caramel, just a really easy drinking bourbon. One you cannot go wrong with at all. If you can find it, pick it up. Some people have a really difficult time. Um, Before Highway 66. Some people with the Eagle Rare, some people have a really difficult time finding it. It pops up here quite a bit. Now, I'm sure most of you heard that in 2018 they were discontinuing the store pick program, so they're not doing really anything as far as store picks, anything like that. So they're kind of seizing that for, I think, all of 18. I don't know, maybe just try to build up a little bit more either anticipation or stock or whatever. But I can't imagine Buffalo Trace not having a ton of stock of the Eagle Rare. Now, granted, it's essentially still, they don't label it as a single barrel, or a 10-year, whatever you want to call it. The only difference now is that it's a continuous run, so there's still the ability for there to be some of the bourbon from a prior barrel into the new, into the new run. So, excuse me, they can't call it a single barrel anymore. So they used to call it that. But all right, so now I'm moving on to the letter D, which is another mystery sample, and we'll see exactly what we've got here. So now that it's a little bit later, I'm interested to know what everybody else is drinking. Swami's probably got a beer and some type of scotch, maybe Eagle Rare, I don't know. But I'm interested to know, now that it's a little bit later, what everybody else is drinking. Oof. So, interesting. Rum. Something I've got to try. I'm always very intrigued by some of the rums. Blanton's, can't go wrong. So with Blanton's, I actually just got Plantation. Okay. Yeah, you have some crazy rums. That's nice. That's one thing I'd like to try at Larceny. That's an easy, Dwayne, that's an easy drinking one. So Blanton's, I actually just got some of the Blanton's Gold the other day. So I'm really anxious. I've had it a sample a couple times, but I've never owned a bottle. I got one the other day. I was able to do a nice trade. I had a Willet 80th anniversary that I knew I wasn't going to probably open that, so I wanted to trade for something that essentially I would open up and drink and really enjoy. So that's what I ended up doing. So it's more of a secondary value type trade, but I think each person got exactly what they wanted. So boy, now with this, I get a lot of, I know, Dan, you were saying before green apple, but I'm getting a lot of like kind of green fruit, a lot of like a green grape, green apple, a little bit of vanilla. And this is D, so this is letter D, so. All right, let's go. Huh. Interesting. So I still get kind of the same thing on the palate with this. This is a, yeah, more of a fruit flavored. I mean, it almost reminds me, to be honest. It almost reminds me, to be honest, of a like a single malt. I don't know specifically. I don't understand the Scotch side of things, or the necessarily even the single malt side of things, but it reminds me a lot of like a single malt. I mean, you're getting, kind of a nice. You can kind of see it's a nice, kind of copper amber color. Age wise, I don't know exactly what that would be, but it's got a nice finish on it. I'll be really interested to know exactly what this is. So, but I get a really, the finish on it is really medium long, buttery. Boy, I'll be really interested. The legs on this, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but uh, really, really nice. And I don't have the anaconda thing down that Food Quake has, but yeah, I don't know. I get a lot of single maltish to something like this. So, all right, Dan, hit us with what letter D is. I'll be really interested to know what this is. It doesn't have a lot of the, typical bourbon characteristics to me. The Sinatra, interesting. All right. It was a different flavor. It was really interesting. So I was never a huge Jack Daniels guy, but man, I've always wanted to try that. That is really, really just interesting. It's different, that's for sure. I like different. I like not always having the same flavor profiles for things. And so, what's the on the Sinatra? What's the proof on this? I'll be interested. I'm guessing it's got to be in that 90-95 range. I'm not getting a lot of heat off this at all. Boy, now I don't know if it's from the Clyde Maze or not, but I even get a little bit of a nuttiness to this as well. So yeah, so the Sinatra, I saw it the other day. All right, so Richie, so you said something about Wild Turkey. I don't know if that was not the Forgiven, but the what was the one you mentioned? Oh, the Forgiven. Yeah, Richie, if you can get that. So the Forgiven was. Let me go off on a little bit of a tangent here. So that's one bottle I regret not picking up. I've had it and it's very interesting. If you can get it, pick it up, because it's a blend of different things. Now the story was that through the process of producing whatever they were, that I thought they mixed a bourbon and a rye together and ended up with that blend. And the story was essentially that the person who messed all of that stuff up essentially was forgiven, hence the Wild Turkey Forgiven, and there's the product you ended up with. But I thought it was very unique and different. So if you can find that, all right, thanks Dan, 100 proof. So if you get the Forgiven, buy it. I mean, it's one that you don't see around anymore. I don't think they're even producing it at all. So yeah, so that's the thing. The Forgiven, I saw it like a couple of years ago, and I left it on the shelf. It was like one or two of them, and I should have just bought it. It was one that I thought they were gonna maybe continue to make, but I think they've stopped making it at all. I don't think they produce the Forgiven at all anymore. So it's one of my kind of regrets in the bourbon world. So, but anyway, yeah. So if you can get it, pick it up. Go buy whatever they have. Just buy all of them. I mean, it is really, really, really good whiskey. So, Dan, thanks for sending me that. That's it's very, very unique. I'd be interested to know what the age on this is. So, I do know a little bit of the history behind the Sinatra. So this was apparently one of the well, I mean, he was a huge Jack Daniels guy, and I know he was actually buried with his own blend of Jack Daniels. And I think, according to what they've said, is that what we're drinking right now is what, basically he came up with, what he enjoyed regarding the Jack Daniels. Therefore, they produced it, and he's actually buried with a bottle of Jack Daniels signature, technically his blend. So this was why they called it the Jack Daniels Sinatra blend. Very good. So again, Dan, thank you very much. Just very unique. Not long ago I had the single barrel Jack Daniels, and I was very, very surprised. So, I mean, I was kind of shocked. I mean, I was always a little turned off by Jack Daniels. I wasn't a huge fan. Maybe it was more of the college days. Dan, it was probably more of the college days when you got you were just, you had one track mind. I mean, you were trying to have, too much in a short period of time, and, it is what it is. But anyway, so this is the Jack Daniel's Sinatra. Price wise, I thought, maybe you can tell me, but I thought this was in the $100-ish range, something like that. Maybe even a little bit more than $100. But it's a really, really good whiskey. I mean, it's essentially bourbon. I mean, the mash bills and all of that. Jeff, I would have to agree with you, buddy. So after going through all these samples, but the Sinatra, I mean, it's a really, really good bourbon. So, or whiskey, whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. Swami, see you later, bud. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. So, anyway, so why don't we do this? So I've gone through essentially everything that Dan has sent me. I mean, all of this stuff is really, really good. And I know before too much longer, Bill Whiskey Dick is going to be going on. So why don't we wrap this stuff up, and everybody can kind of go over and check his stuff out. I think he's going to be going on in maybe another 45 minutes or so. But anyway, so I guess what I want to say is, to all you guys, thanks for subscribing and jumping on here. If I had nobody on here, I would just be talking to myself, so I'd be like a crazy person. But you guys are what make this fun to do and continue to do and all of that. So I really, really enjoy this. And to Dan, thanks for sending all of these things to me. This is fun to do. So you guys have all been kind of shooting the shit with Dan all night. So it's he's a great guy. I wish he lived a little bit closer, but Maryland is a little distance away, but and I don't do as much traveling as I used to, and I'm not really getting there. But one other thing, so I did pick up an Elijah Craig for Dan that I sent him, and I don't know if you actually got that or not. So let me know. It was supposed to be there yesterday, according to USPS, but So Gary Page, Dad, thanks a lot. Go have some dinner. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. So yeah, I'll be interested. I'm hoping that you get that package soon. Still in transit, of course it is. So I don't know what the delay on that is, but anyway. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I had a ton of fun. I love doing blind reviews, samples, different things. Try different things. There are a few of these I had never had before. The Clyde Maze, the Sinatra, I hadn't had that. Obviously the old Fitz, 1962. That was awesome. That was something that you kind of you love to really get into some of these old bourbons. It's a different flavor. If you guys have ever had it, and you would know. I mean, it tastes different. So Jason, thanks. I appreciate it. So anyway, I guess, with that being said, thanks again. You guys have really helped to, contribute to the 700. I'm trying to get to, the 1,000 subscriber mark is just a benchmark. Doesn't ultimately mean, much, but it's it's a kind of a goal. So, I really have a good time doing all of these things. So, but anyway, and again, Dan, thank you very much for sending all this stuff out. So I'll have to probably hold down the couch for a little while after being into some of these big boys. So, so why don't you guys go and check out? I know Bill is about ready to start doing some of his live stream. I think maybe the next 45 minutes or so. I'll be tuning in and checking some of his stuff out. So, again, thanks for being part of the 700. Thanks, Dan, for sending the samples. And we'll see you guys next time. Cheers, guys.